right, it looks like we are ready to go live. Now, let's just pray to baby Jesus that we don't have a streaming issue for the third day in a row. Oh my God, yesterday, streaming issue, the day before, streaming issue. Today, though, I am making a local copy. So whatever happens to the internet, we will be able to upload the final copy or the replacement, the backup copy. That way, even if everything kind of just crashes, I'll just delete this live stream and then I'll upload the backup. So we have a plan B in place. Unfortunately, the other two live streams were really I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Okay, so let's dive into the morning watch list video. And first of all, let me change my screen because you guys don't see what I'm looking at. All right, okay, everything is here. So right now I have AGRX on the watch list, and I'm just gonna go ahead and find some potential entries and exits. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. We still have half an hour till the market opens, and then we'll trade the market for about a half an hour. I might be trading longer than that, but I'm only gonna have this live stream going for about a half an hour after the market opens. So the whole live stream will be a total of about 1 hour, just so it doesn't get a little too crazy. So let me go to the daily view quickly and then just check this out. Also, I was just starting on the wrong chart. Let me go to this chart. So AGRX, something we've been looking at for a while. And one of the things that really kind of spooked me with AGRX and spooks me quite a lot on many stocks is these very ferocious gap downs. A lot of times you don't really see the gap get filled actually on these things, because when there's a gap down like this, it usually means there's a massive amount of dilution and there's a lot of new shares that were created based on some sort of financing or something like that. So there's just a lot of sellers in these areas. So it looks like, this one actually did break above it about 22%. It was a gap up, so ultimately it opened here and then tried to pull higher, and then it got totally rejected, and then it closed over here a little higher. So let's kind of dig into this a little bit, see if this is really some trade that we would want to take. Good amount of volume still for this one. The dollar volume is 79 million, so pretty solid size. Let's check what their float is very quickly again, and if we just come over to here and then we go to also AGRX. Let me quickly write what all our tickers are, and then I'm going to go back and update these during the live stream. So we have BNGO and we have FCEL I'm looking at, and then we'll finish up with, I'm going to go ahead and just post this quickly. That way, if you guys are following this thread on Trade to Win, you guys can always see what we are talking about. And let me just go back in edit mode. So go here. So AGRX. We have shares float 52.74 million. That's actually quite interesting. Because that actually does not align with what TD Ameritrade says. Good little side note here. The shares being traded here. Okay, of course, that's because shares float is different than dollar volume in the last 24 hours. So basically, all the shares that were in the float, so tradable shares, were being traded yesterday. I mean, so the amount of dollar volume is over the amount of shares that can be traded, which means there's a lot of changing hands going on. And that's really pretty apparent, I would say, in the amount of volume you're seeing here. Now, we had this really nice initial dip down to this support zone. This would have been a pretty awesome trade, but if you guys saw some part of the live stream that was cut short yesterday, you'll remember that we missed it because we had 0 trades available left, since our account is under the PTT rule. So we can only make 3 trades per American broker per 5 business days. So we weren't able to capitalize on that. This trade though, I think there's a good chance that we might have another bounce off this area. I think a morning panic, 8% or something like that, could lead to a little rally from here. But honestly, I think there's a lot of risk here, because if we crack the $2 level, which I really think there's a good chance that we will do today, then I wouldn't really want to be holding that, because I think there's a good amount of downside, and there's way more downside to me on this trade than potential upside. I think the first support level we'll probably be seeing is this 0.173, and then definitely down here it looks like there was a lot of buyers, of course, at the 1.5 area. So let's just go ahead, notate those areas, and then move on to the next one. So the first area I want to kind of discuss is this 1.71. I think there's definitely going to be a lot of support down there. And then the second area, I think this 1.52 has a lot of support. So I'm not even going to be watching this one until we really crack the 1.95 area. Actually, let's just put 1.88 at or below. I'm just going to create an alert there. So I think that's a pretty safe way to talk about this one. Let's go looking for a crack under 1.7 and 1.5 are two possible entries. So that's what I'm looking for here. What did we say? There's about 50 million float. Was that what it was? And there's about 52 million float, 74 million shares, dollar volume. Now, if you guys want this dollar volume equation formula to put onto your TD Ameritrade account, let me know. I could go ahead and make a video on that and then provide you guys the necessary formula. I like it way more than just showing the volume, because when you just see the volume, it's not really that helpful if you think about it, because you would have to first then calculate the last price to get an idea. So it's really hard to, right off the bat, just go through all these different stocks. This way I know exactly, okay, this has a nice amount of shares being traded. Otherwise, I don't really want to trade it. Nice. Sebastian says the connection is stable. Thank the Lord. I actually replaced a few cables, hoping that maybe the issue was the cable. I don't know. Worst case, if we do have an issue, I'm going to unplug it and use the Wi-Fi, which there's no way should be better, but who knows? Can you talk about Match from a technical perspective? Yeah, I'll throw up Match as well. Let's go ahead and do that next, actually. Match, that might already be on here. If you guys don't know, Match Group, I believe is the one that is affiliated with Tinder, and I don't know what else, but they do the online dating scene pretty hard. So it looks like we were doing some technical analysis on this one recently, and really they just kind of fell off a little cliff right here not too long ago. If you go just, right off the back, you could see that at this $60 level, there was a high here, then we had a double top, and we got rejected initially, but then we tried to break above it again, had a bit of a fake out, but we were in this channel to the upside. In the lower end of the channel, that trend line caught it, and we moved to the upside. So, when we break a ascending channel, that's actually a bearish indicator. And as you can see here, we had that super classic breakdown bounce, and then we continued the breakdown. A lot of times when you break one of these channels, you'll first bounce back up, retest that channel, that trend line in that channel will be new resistance. Before it was support. We have support, 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 support. All of this is support. Here's a little fake out with not so much volume. It's actually right here. So a lot of buyers, not so many sellers. That's a very good thing. You want to see that. But then here, we had a breakdown with a big red candle. That's a good confirmation that that is a real break. And then we bounced back here, got rejected, not a lot of volume, just kind of, overall probably some shorts piling in, some profit taking, nothing too aggressive. I think the big shorts probably happened right around here. And then, then we kind of crashed. And now we're seeing some support coming in here near the lower 60 area. So low 60s. So 61, 62, a lot of support coming in. I think this could be a great trade. I think this could be a really nice little day trade. Definitely back into these positions if we have a dip today. Actually, let's check out what it's doing today, because we didn't check out aftermarket. After hours. Whoa, that is getting crazy. Okay, so there's a little bounce to the upside. Wow, okay, it's not a little bounce at all. It's at 68. Okay, yeah. So the current price just went a little bit higher to 68. So we had about 2% aftermarket rally. Also, guys, I'm sorry if this is all a little hard to see on your screens. I'm still thinking about a better way to do it. Maybe I will just zoom in on the chart itself, but I find having the whole overview is a little bit more interesting. So if you guys are watching this live or on playback, first of all, kudos to you for focusing on improving your trading education. Second of all, I do think getting the bigger picture of what everything looks like might be a bit more beneficial to everyone. And that's why I have it on the whole chart. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think personally, I don't know if I want to get it into it now, but if you could believe in fundamentally Match Group is a great company, I do like the general price action we are seeing in terms of, having a better entry at a small discount. We did pull back pretty hard, about 27-30%. That's sometimes a very healthy pullback to have. So let's see if we'll continue that pullback. Again, I wouldn't really just be getting in right now. I'll be waiting for bigger support, and then I'd probably end up day trading it or swing trading it. Unless you fundamentally believe in the company, you want to go hold long, that's a whole different trading strategy. That's not really something I do on this channel, although there's nothing wrong with building long-term assets. But right now we're really focusing on those day trades, and we trade small caps. So this, again, isn't really something that I'm going to be trading myself. But maybe I'll be putting it into a long-term portfolio. So that's a whole different thing. Okay, let's dive back into... all right, cool. Sebastian liked it. I'm happy you liked it. Let's dive back into the small caps, because that is what's volatile, and that's what we're going to be trading. Okay, FCL, now that's been on our list for quite some time. Let me just bring it up over here. And then I always like to start on the daily. To me, it gives me a nice little overview. You can see that this thing, I mean, it had a reverse split 1 to 12. So that puts its old valuation close to $700. This stock will never see a day of light again, back at $700, mark my words. Okay, well, I mean, anything could happen, but if it does happen, I will be super surprised, and you can just make fun of me the rest of my life for that, for saying that. Anyway, so we have the reverse split right here on the June. Right, that's June. No, that's May. On May, what day? May 8th. I guess that's not really important. We had a 1 to 12 reverse split. I can't speak anymore. I guess that means a water break. 1 second. Prosty prost. And yeah, ever since then, we kind of had a ceiling that we were never able to break up from again. So let me just kind of scroll on over here, and let me see what the aftermarket trading is looking like right now. Whew, that is a lot of back and forth bouncing. Waiting for data. Okay, there's a lot of aftermarket activity going on right now. And just go ahead, move this over here a little bit more. So it looks like this 0.475 area, 0.474 area is some interesting support. Right now it looks like we're forming maybe some sort of channel, a little bit of chop. I just really wouldn't be trading this overall. I think what could be interesting is if we have a dip under this area. Again, guys, understand that there is a lot of dilution in this, and there's a lot of people that are trying to get any money for this. Any long-term investor is just trying to sell into any spike. So don't blindly buy something like this, because there's a good chance, the next day it's just going to fall and get completely crushed. You can see all these past spikes, we're looking really good at first. And yeah, of course, if you bought somewhere on this down run, and you're throwing money into a wishing well, sometimes you get lucky and then you had little spikes to the upside. But any of these larger run-ups were just completely crushed. And I think there's a good chance that's going to happen. And again, this high was lower, or if you just go here, this high, let's say was here at 0.9. This high was already much lower, again at 0.65 area. This high didn't even reach that 0.65 area. So every time there's more sellers, I guess it did just for a very short period of time. So every time more people are crushing or jumping onto this one, let me go ahead and identify again. There's a lot of support potentially in this area, 0.2423. So I'm just going to go ahead and identify this area. And I think if we crash here, this could be an interesting bounce play. We would go down 8%. Yeah, nothing too great. I mean, nothing really that inspires me, but I'm going to go ahead and create alert here anyway. I'm going to say at or below, create alert. 0.45. Not too inspiring. 0.45 have an alert, could be a smaller bounce by under would need buy. Any bounces will be sold into heavy. Careful. I don't know what it is, but my spelling is just, I don't know if it's spelling or typing. I think it's a little bit of both. Let's check out BNGO. For me, AGRX is way more interesting than FCEL. And this one's already on here too, but let me just go ahead and get added. So one of my favorite trades actually, and they don't happen all the time, is when you have a big, nice run up, and then from that initial run up, the price crashes back down, and then you have a really, really nice bounce. And usually you only want to be trading that first bounce. Whoops, where did we go? Here we are. And then let me go back a little bit. And originally I was waiting for a little bit bigger crash. This is a little hard to see on your guys' end. I'm sorry about that. Let me see if I can make it a little bit better. We're on the 4-hour view right now. So we had a nice big run up. This run up was actually really absurd, about 600%. Then we had, this is a 4-hour chart, so a lot of aftermarket trading. And then we had a secondary crash here on that day. Then we tried to spike again on the next day, but it got rejected again. And then aftermarket, we really came down here. We had a morning panic. Now this morning panic was really, really nice because we had a spike down all the way back here to this 0.8 area. And this is where we originally broke out from. So this area would have been a phenomenal, phenomenal bounce. Could have landed, you know, north of 20, went up to 40% bounce. So that happened really, really quickly. Now you can see again, and this is why you don't want to trade those bounces the second time. This time it came back to this area and got completely crushed. So, you know, 9+% went down. It did eventually bounce again, but you don't really know. And the bounce that happened on yesterday was quite nice, but again, kind of got crushed aftermarket. So actually it really happened aftermarket, but then got completely crushed again. So let's see what we're seeing on this one. Nice little rally, clear support at the 1.1 NASDAQ. There's a good chance this is going to have some sort of morning panic. Let's see what kind of news it's on. I think this general zone here is going to have a lot of support. This could be a really nice area. Anywhere in the 1 area is a potential bounce. So one thing I want to talk about as well in this video, or actually before I talk about that, and say 1.1 to 1.2, nice bounce. Now, what I'm looking at right now is not really, nothing really seems like we might have a morning rally where there's a small little rejection, small little profit taking, and then, you know, making new all-time highs. It doesn't really see, nothing that we're looking at today is really looking like that. There might be something else out there that I haven't found yet. One of the nice potential balances today. Let me just go ahead and just save this again. The next video, so tomorrow's Friday, I'm gonna try to have this post out before this video. That way we can just kind of talk about it a little bit more fluidly, and you guys don't have to watch me write these things out. I'm still getting kind of used to live streaming this whole process, so I'm sorry that that is maybe not as efficient as it could be. So yesterday we made a small little trade on NIO, even though I said I didn't have any trades left. And let me tell you why that happened is we opened this Webull account and I was able to fund it the same day. So I clicked deposit on my phone, and then right away those funds were available for trading even though they are not settled yet. And then we went ahead and made a very small trade. It was like a 0.5% loss, nothing serious. Either way, it was only on $400. I wanted to deposit 1,000, but then I go ahead and try to deposit that money again, but it doesn't work. I run into some weird little issue where it says your bank is having like some connection issue, which is weird because it just worked the moment before. So maybe there's a one transaction per settlement kind of issue. I don't really know. Anyway, Webull, there is definitely an issue between I believe your app, your banking, and then Wells Fargo's connection. Maybe it's just a glitch. Maybe, I don't really know. But anyway, I was having issues with it yesterday. So this account still has only $400 in it, which is a little upsetting because we do have 2 trades available in this account. 2 trades, which is cool. I would love to take advantage of it. The reason I was kind of overly eager to trade this a little bit, even with a small amount of money, is just because I wanted to learn the platform a little bit. To me, that was worth the $2 that I lost yesterday. I learned a little bit how to enter these trades. There's a really interesting thing where you can do percentage based. Although I was trying to do it with 100% and it didn't work. It kept saying, I actually don't remember the error message anymore, but I kept having issues with it. So watch out with that. I wasn't the greatest experience, but ultimately, interesting platform. I'm fairly happy with it. But I need to kind of get my bearings still with it a little bit. I would like to keep everything on TD Ameritrade. To me, there's nothing more stressful than constantly trying to figure out which account you should be using to trade. That to me is a bit of a headache. So for the opening bell, which is in 6 minutes, I'm going to be watching BNGO, Bio and Nano, and then I'll just keep an eye out on the other alerts, see if something's moving. Now remember guys, there's a good chance that this is going to be crushed. We've had many failed breakouts on this one. And ultimately, what I like about this one, first of all, is it's down from its highs about 90%, but there is no reverse split. So let's just check out this the float very quickly. Wait, BNGO. I was like, that doesn't look right. 16 million shares float. And what do we have over here? 4.7. So we have about 25% of the shares float being traded in the last 24 hours. So here, obviously, way more. Here it was 4.2 on average, 4.7. And then here it's much more, 68. Wow, that was really high. So yeah, we're up very heavy pre-market. You can see we had this huge after-hour rally. I think this 1.23 area is going to be some good support. Just go back to the 5 minute on this one. 1.8. Okay, 1.3, interesting. So yeah, we had some, 1.3 was an interesting area at first. We had a little fake out right here, and then we continued to break down, and then 1.3 didn't really act as support, so something interesting to notice. We'll also have to decide which account we would want to trade with. Trading, honestly, with Webull is almost irrelevant since there's only $400 in it. And we can't get margin on Webull until we have $2,000 in it. So I would need to deposit some more cash into that one, except right now I can't. I'm having some sort of issues. I'm depositing cash. Our IRA account would be the best. We have 3 trades. The downside with the IRA is we only have 959. Yeah, this is all a little unusual. So our best account right now is our individual account we would have $2,000 roughly for day trading. I'm going to go ahead and put one order in ready to go. Make it 1800. Also, if you guys are wondering this is actually, I think, 15-second delayed. I just noticed in the settings, and I don't think I can change it at the moment because it's not in the YouTube settings. It's on my recording setting and my screen catcher settings, and it won't allow me to change it right now. So you're going to hear that opening bell 15 seconds late. It's a little too high. All right, I'll be right back. "14 seconds. That was a close one. Woo! All right, all right. FCEL is dropping. Oops, wrong one. My. We are having some glitchy experiences right now. Let's just hope the internet holds up. I think it will be fine today. I'm really, just go back to BNGO at the 5-minute. You can see we had a little rejection here. Let's see how long this panic goes. Right now, bouncing off the VWAP, you can see some really interesting support here, some good support at the 1.35. Let's go ahead and note that down. I'm not the biggest fan of entering on a VWAP. I notice that sometimes it dips below it or dips above it. It's not as consistent to me, but I do notice that the edges around the VWAP are a little bit nicer for potential entries and exits. NIO that we traded yesterday is up actually quite big from yesterday. See what our other account looks like. Now the IRA is, you're not able to make a margin account out of the IRA. Whoops. That's the big problem that we are having. And there's quite a long settlement period on the IRA as well. Looks like we're seeing some first support come in here at the 1.25 area. Makes a lot of sense. Those areas are always known for being interesting. Those 2.5s, those 0.5s, those $1, $1.5, whole numbers like that are always interesting for the market. Pivot points. So it looks like we're gonna have our first bounce. Sometimes you have a little tick view here, which is quite interesting. Every stock I've noticed is very different when analyzing the tick view. Sometimes it's horrible, sometimes it's actually quite interesting. This one's quite interesting, I find. It's also a little harder to draw the line, so about a 4% bounce already. Looks like we're getting rejected right under the VWAP potentially at the 1.33. Guys, you have no idea how happy I am that the live stream is working. Even if we don't make any trades today, it will be a success in my eyes because we have no internet issues yet. Fingers crossed. Hopefully the internet gods won't just be like, ha, we got your hopes up. Boom, crushed. Let's hope that does not happen. Then you'd see a tear just go down my eyes. Be like right here, just like a little. My fingers are freezing. It's really cold. I left the window open and it's just Antarctica in here. Match group up 3.94% at 69.45. I was not expecting that. I didn't think Match Group had that rally in it, but we're seeing it. Let's go back to the minute. So we had a bounce here. The bounce was very short-lived. We're at 1.25. Lot of sellers. Our orders at 1.21. Could be a bit too aggressive or not. I don't know. Quick look at the 5-minute. It's about a 4%, 4 to 5% downside potential. Upside, 10%. A little over 1 to 2, getting into that 1 to 3 profit loss range. A lot of sellers here at 1.24, 1.25 is kind of holding a little bit. Zoom in a little bit more. Whoops, what did I just do? Price is dipping still. A lot of sell volume still coming in. Buyers at 1.22. %15 dip from the last high, over 10% dip from the morning. The markets are all up a little bit. S&P, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, all up. All the indexes are up a little bit. Looks like we're going to have a secondary bounce. Now, this bounce could be much stronger. I don't want to get in this bounce. I don't want to be chasing it. I've missed a lot of bounces because I was way too conservative, but that's just how I am sometimes. I would like to see maybe a bit more of a reversal. The volume is dying though. There are a lot of buyers that keep going in. That first bounce was pretty strong. If we had more trades, I probably would have tried to trade that first bounce. You know, pocket maybe 3-4%, but that's super scalpy. I don't know if I want to be doing that either. I think this is definitely going to dip down. Let's check out that tick view again. I'm going to go to 1 minute. Okay, pretty nice bounce. I see it. 5% bounce. We're in the first 8 minutes of the market being open. I'm going to move my order down actually a little bit. And the reason I'm going to move my order down is because I missed this first bounce, and it was a pretty nice one. And the reason is, if I don't think we're going to get a perfect double bottom. I think if anything, right now we're getting potentially rejected off the VWAP, or we're going to go above the VWAP, but I kind of doubt it because all the sellers in BNGO, I personally wouldn't be buying in these high levels. We've already had a failed breakout. So to me, I would just be looking for a bit safer positions overall. Let's go back to the 1 minute. What we might see here is some sort of flag forming, and this might take a little bit longer to play out. So let's see what other kind of positions we have. A flag would maybe look like something like this. Some consolidation here, and then a secondary crash into this 1.5 area. So I might even move my order down a little bit further. Pretty nice bounce. I was, I guess, too conservative. I would be getting out of my trade already. 7% is where I like to take profits a lot of the time. So definitely was a little too conservative on this one, which is fine. Let's see what else is moving. NIO, which we bought at a pretty interesting spot. We bought at 2.02, and I got out a little bit later on this secondary dip at 2.01. Now, if we held it, we'd be up 8%, but I don't really want to be holding trades overnight. I want to be, quick trades. Not so much volume with AGRX. Let's go ahead and check the scanner. Scan, yes. So we have BNGO, obviously, we're gonna mark that one. That one's moving pretty high. We have 28 million volume, pretty nice. No, that was wrong, that was the market cap, $15.6 volume. Here's another interesting one, CLVS. Now that's one we've traded many times in the past. Let's go ahead and mark that one. CLVS, definitely moving 22%. CLVS. Now this one is kind of what I was talking about earlier, how we're not seeing any stocks that would be interesting to potentially buy. This is a first green day. This is looking pretty good. We had a breakout over this area. This could actually be a nice little rally here. Especially if we break the new high at 4.74. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go see if we can place an order on this with our other account. Let's see what we got here. 100. We would need something more in the 200 range. Oops, I don't know what happened. 200, 0.7. We can make a bit higher on this one, 220. Probably closer to the 8 would be more understandable. 63. Let's go down one. 61. Let's see if we can get an entry at the 66. 59.20. This would actually work. About 4% potential downside, but this thing could really rally hard. Let's see what we can find here. All right, so we're long on CLVS. Fairly small position. All right. Let's see if we can hold this area. Big support here at 4.07 at the $4 area. I probably could have, been a bit more patient on this one, especially just because I, just pulled it on the radar. But ultimately, big support here. So let's see what happens. Right now, we're down about 2-3%. I don't want to be switching my screen too much, but I want to quickly look what our BNGO is doing. Oh, that bounce. Look at that bounce. That bounce was perfect. I was too conservative. I was right below it. Right here, 1.21 is where we had our order. Kind of crazy, we'd be 12% right now. Oh, that's fine. Markets are green. CLVS up on earnings. BNGO, wow, we just really missed this one, huh? We completely were too conservative on this play. We actually broke above this support and then bounced off of it again. Really, really interesting spectacle. I was not expecting that. I personally was really a bit more hesitant with this one. Yeah, I mean, it spikes like crazy, this one, but this is not your first spike. This is a secondary spike. You know, it's not something I want to be chasing. I don't feel bad about this missed trade whatsoever. Although it is running very, very nicely here. I was a bit too conservative. I'm just going to go ahead and put an order here, just so it's easier for me to potentially sell it in the future. 20. Confirm and send. Your buying power result in 0 if accepted. So we want to, why did that not work? Let's just put it at, wrong account, that's why. Yeah, see, it's these little things you got to watch out for when you trade so many different accounts. It's can kind of drive you mad at one point. Always be very, very careful when you place an order. Double and triple check. I have before placed an order and it went not where I wanted it to, especially when you're dealing with those very small penny stocks, like, you know, 10 cents or even worse, like 0.01578 or something like that. Those, so easy to make a mistake there. That's like a 10% mistake or 20% mistake. Just be careful. Holding our highs, I think there's a good chance that we're going to test these highs. I really like what we're seeing here. Descending channel here that broke to the downside, a little ascending channel, constantly getting rejected. I'm going to go ahead and note that there's a lot of resistance in this area right here at the 11.25. Let's zoom in a little bit. Again, here at the 5, definitely big resistance. And then again here at 6, 610, 620. Up on earnings, it's usually a very good sign. Our entry was a bit early on this one. Good chance we might break the high here. Definitely our entry was a bit aggressive. I was trying to buy near this VWAP. Like I said in the beginning of this video, super funny that VWAP buying is just not my thing. And then there you have it. Potentially, if I did not see this VWAP, I would have gone ahead and used this area instead, as we had 2 times support in this area and then the breakout from this area. Much more interesting support level, in my opinion. There's probably nothing more exhausting than just watching one of these things play out. Let's go and check the again, we were a little bit too conservative on this one. 1.24, 1.23 would have been it. But, you know, this would have been a really nice bounce. Went up to over 20%, 22%. So pretty nice bounce. CLVS at 4.36. Again, with BNGO, we really got to watch out. You know, we've already had this big gap. I think today could just end as a really red day for BNGO. I think it could get a lot of people on the wrong side of the trade. And as we don't break new highs here, I think a lot of people might be in that situation. We might like to find some sort of double bottom, maybe a little bounce here. Let's go to 2.7. You also got to remember, we're not trying to, that was another thing. We're only trying to get the best plays and no need to rush any sort of positions. Let's put a alert on here. If it cracks, create alert. Looks like we're back below our entry on this one. Let's watch it a little closer. Too many things on my radar. Lower high, that's not usually the best indicator. I think there's definitely a good chance that we might continue this crash to the downside and form a secondary low here past the 4.18, at which point I would probably start considering getting out. Our entry was maybe a tad bit too early. I don't want to risk more than 3% really on this trade. We were up a little bit in the same, 2% area, really, nothing to run home about. So yeah. We got 5 more minutes till we hit about an hour of live streaming. I see you guys watching. Let me know if you guys are liking this. Let me know if there's anything specific you guys would like me to start incorporating into these live streams. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty intense. I've never really traded live before. I do record myself quite often. Mainly with crypto, and crypto is just much slower moving. BNGO 1.38, we have an order again, guys, at 1.79, 1.27, said it the wrong way. CLVS under 25. Yeah, it's looking very weak, very, very weak. Volume slowing down as well. We're down about 3% at the all-time low. If we dip under the 4.2 areas, when I'm really gonna start looking for a potential exit, maybe just get out right away. BNGO is getting close to that 0.3. Move it down one more. I might even be even more cautious with this one, just because of that big rejection. And again, that gap, which I just don't like these. Yeah, we got rejected pretty hard. I think I made my mind up. I'm gonna put the brakes on this a little bit. I'm gonna put this up to 7. I'm gonna move this one out to 17. I'm gonna say confirm order, send. I would like to dip by this one, maybe later in the day. Just don't really feel right in this position anymore. Although I think, you know, there's definitely a good chance that there might be again a bounce, but why not play it on the safe side? Unfortunately, our CLVS trade is not working out as planned. We hit that 20. I saw it on my corner of my eye, and it's kind of where I wanted to get out of this trade. Looks like we're getting really close to that $40 mark. Again, not too excited about that. Let's keep watching it here. Getting really close to that 5% loss area. Actually, I think we are in that area already. Really close to it, about 0.7% away. So if I was not in a trade right now, I would be probably ending this live stream, but I feel like there is some good material here, so I'm going to let it go on just a little bit longer. Otherwise, I would be ending this live stream. We're just, you know, potentially in 2 trades right now, and good learning material, so I'm going to let this ride on just a tad bit longer. $4.16, not what we want to be seeing with CLVS. I think there's a good chance it's going to go down at least to this support zone here at 4.11. Not a lot of volume though, nothing too aggressive. In terms of, you know, new volume coming in. It's all kind of just slowly selling off. The secondary breakout ultimately failed. We had a triple top here. And then there was more or less a pullback. Right now, I'm waiting for a bit more volume to come in and hopefully we'll break to the upside. Good earnings. You can't really deny that. Beating estimates. Former runner. I think the worst thing that, I would probably say CLVS has against it is just this constant descending pattern. But, when it finds these big support zones, sometimes it runs pretty hard. So I want to go ahead and check. Maybe I can find some information. Maybe there's some dilution that I'm not aware of. Whoops, what happened there? Maybe a 10Q would be a little bit more interesting. Right off the bat, no warrants. That's always a good sign. Selling pressure pretty low. We would have caught this bounce actually on here. How funny is that? Our order was at 1.27. So we would be in this trade right now if I didn't move our limit order down. Not saying I want to be in it, just saying we would have been in it. So let's see how that plays out. If we don't break the 4.3 level again really, really soon, I'll probably be getting out of this trade. I already wanted to get out of it at the 4.2 area. Don't really want to be holding it again as a big question mark. Melon says, I'm tense. I am tense. I'm not going to deny it. I'm down one position, and the second position is a big question mark. Thankfully, we're trading with tiny position sizes, so ultimately none of this matters really. But this is our trading month. Last month, this month, and December are really the training wheel months, so we can start 2020 off on the right foot and really just, get the year off right. So these next 3 months, we're going to be trading with small position sizes. But yeah, every trade, I guess, still counts in a way. Or you want to make every trade as good as possible. Right now, our winning ratio is only 60%, a little over 62% or something. I think the last trade brought it down a little bit. So I want to get to that. Honestly, your win-loss ratio really isn't that important. It's more your P&L is pretty important. Although I would like to get my win-loss ratio to the high 60s, or even above 70 would be really cool. But we'll see. I'm happy I lowered my order on BNGO. I think I would have instantly gotten out of that trade and I would have been super stressed about it. I would have maybe took 1-2% profit on that one, which with our tiny account is not good because we would probably miss a trade the next day. Ultimately, it would be a total loss, right? All right, maybe it's time to already have a glass of wine. I don't know. It's not very a victory wine, so probably not. I used to know this one hedge fund manager, and he would, I'm not going to put any names out there, but honestly just smoke some weed, and it would be really funny sometimes when he was trading. But there's some people that can do that pretty well, and then there's some people that can't. So that's really something for every individual person to kind of decide on their own. This break to the upside doesn't really have that much volume, doesn't really have that many legs under it so far. Would be nice to see some more important crack to the upside here. Also, this is a bit longer than I usually hold trades for. A lot of my best trades I only hold for 7 to 15 minutes. I don't know if I can count all the candles right now, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. This is a good 30 minutes, I would say, give or take 5 minutes. And we're already over 10 minutes of the live stream time that I wanted to go on. So sorry guys, this looks like it's going to go a bit longer. Anyone watching this on playback, but at least, you got your fast forward button ×2 speed. I still feel like the content can be valuable in terms of just watching the trade play out and coming up with the potential entries and exits for yourself. BNGO is dipping. That bounce was very weak off the 1.27 area, although the entry could have been quite nice. Also, another big victory today is this Wi-Fi, guys. What is up? Excellent connection. I don't know if it's the new cable, if it was my way too long spent on the phone with Vodafone complaining nonstop. I don't know what it was. Let's quickly check out CLVS. I mean BNGO. Forming a bit of a little mini support area right here and a little descending trend right here. I think there's a good chance we're going to dip under this and then have a little, we'll see how far it goes. One thing I don't like about CLVS is the fact that it's starting to trade on the lower end of VWAP, which could be indicating a downwards trend. However, last time, clearly that wasn't the case over here. So let's see where the support kicks in. I think we could probably see some decent support here at the 4.22 area. That was shot under a little bit, but new support coming in, 4.21. I also don't want to be holding something that just constantly keeps trending down. I was looking for something a little bit more aggressive today, and that's really what CLVS was so appealing about it. So this morning gap up was definitely not as strong as I was hoping for. BNGO would have been a good play today. That was definitely one of our best ones. We were 1.5% too conservative on it, so that's a small miss, unfortunately. I'm a bit nervous about CLVS. I think I'm going to be getting out of this one. I think one thing I'm looking at right now is the fact that we had a triple top. We are consolidating, maybe a little bearish flag, and we could be dipping lower here, finding some support near the 4, and then bouncing again. This dip could be over 6%. Not to mention, we got in above this dip. Not really what we were looking at. We were looking at a continued break to the upside. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get out of this trade. I'm going to take my $30 loss and not look back. Yeah, this thing could keep rallying, but I think there's also a lot more downside potential in this one as well. Move the limit order here right now. Getting rejected at the 23. Trying to break to the upside, but just constant selling pressure coming in. I obviously want to sell this one as smart as possible and don't just blindly get out, but so far the trend is not in our favor, and my initial trade was to bounce off to buy this support zone over here and continue upward momentum, and then ideally break the former high. I do like the earnings. I mean, I'm still fairly bullish on this one, but you know, sometimes you really retest those lows before you reverse. And I'd rather get out at 3 to 4% than, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. That's really in the way if I do that. BNGO is playing with fire in this low area. Actually broke to the upside from our descending triangle pattern, finding some support here again. Okay, now we have a potential little reversal on our hands. Green candle with a larger amount of volume, potential trend change. Big lesson on this one is just that early entry was really probably not okay. We basically bought near the highs. What we might be seeing here is a potential gun pattern where you have the handle, the trigger area, the trigger hole, and then the barrel forming here, where we're going to consolidate maybe throughout the day. And then near the end of the day, we might start having that afternoon rally to the upside. I would like to stick around for the afternoon rally, potentially, if that's what we get, but I also don't really know how you feel about that. That's a lot of holding, and that's just not really my strategy. But we could have that really nice afternoon, you know, where it rips to the upside. It's really tough where you only have, you know, 1 or 2 trades, because what I would do if I had unlimited trades, I would take profits here, wait for a bit bigger of a pullback to see if we consolidate a little bit, and then either buy into the breakout, which would be the traditional classic way to do it, or maybe average in already during the barrel of consolidation. And we are also going way over the live stream limit of 1 hour that I was shooting for. Here it looks like there's a good chance of a breakout pullback. where you have the little breakout from this area, from this 4.3 area, let's say, and then you have a pullback back to the 4.3 area before a continuation, possible continuation. BNGO, a lot of selling pressure. We did break down a little bit from this descending triangle pattern that we drew not too long ago. I like how this one's moving a lot quicker. There's a good chance to, you know, a lot of these pops to the upside potentially make some money. This looks like a pretty healthy breakout bounce. Hey guys, if you're watching right now and you appreciate this video, go ahead and hit that like button so YouTube knows that there's some value here and helps others find this content. Otherwise, YouTube might bury it a little bit. So if you're watching this and you find some value, go ahead and hit that like button. I would appreciate it as well. It sure is fun watching. I mean, even with a very small position size, you know, it's all very suspenseful. It's like watching a movie, like an interactive movie. A lot of buyers coming in at the support zone of 4.3. BNGO is selling off a little bit. This trade right here would have been, 20% rally. Oh, that is looking really nice. Looks like we might have a secondary run. Are we going to be positive for the potential second time of the day? Let's see what happens here. Wow, where did those sellers just come from? They're like, nope. We will not let you pass. We will not let you see a green number in your P&L. But the trading gods have other plans. Match group almost back to 70 bucks. Pretty crazy. BNGO back to 1.3. Is this the moment we're going to break to the upside? And rejected. Rejected. Yeah, that was a pretty big rejection, actually. So we tried to have the breakout past the 4.36. Did not work. I feel like Melantheos or Melanthios right now would be saying, you are tense again, which isn't wrong. DXYN below my mark. Let's see what's rocking over there. DXYN. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, it is. Dropping like a rock. this could be actually a really nice trade at the 1.4 area again. Let's follow this one at the 1.5. Create alert below. CLVS went green for a short moment. We did miss it in terms of watching it happen. We hit that 4.3. 4.36, so we were kind of just break even for a short moment. That was a pretty big dip just now. Big rejection from our entry. I don't really think we're going to recover from that one. I think I'm getting tense again. Don't really want it to be going under the 2.8. Don't like that. You know, I thought we were breaking down hard, but we might have not been. We might have just got saved. That could have been just a higher low. To be honest, to me, it really looked more of a breakdown. Markets are up overall. That was a really close situation. This looks like there's that chance that we might have that break to the upside here. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Fortunately, our entry was a bit too aggressive, I would say. Should have, probably waited a bit longer. There's constantly really nice support coming in, though. You got to give it to the price. $26, and we might be breaking down here. $25. $26. $427. There's definitely always new buyers jumping in on this one, but so far the volume hasn't really been strong enough to give a new sort of direction. We might see a new reversal here short term in terms of maybe punching in this low again of 421. It's kind of a bit of a waiting game right now. I might just go ahead and end the live stream. Let me know if you guys are enjoying this content. And the reason is I just don't want these 2-3 hour live streams, and sometimes the trades go on that long. It would be somewhat interesting though if you guys were able to see my exit, and I've been a little, I know where my kind of max stop loss is. It's at this 4.2 area, and then a little bit below that, depending on how the price is acting. If it's a quick wick down there, that's one thing. But if it's several bodies looking at that area, then that's not really something we want to be part of. $4.22 again is going to have to save the day. Last time we dipped below it for just a little bit. 4.21. I would really like to see a quick reversal here. If the price keeps hanging out in this area, it's going to lose me pretty quickly. And there's nothing wrong with cutting losses. So I have no hesitation to quickly close out of this trade. Are we gonna get a little pop to the upside? Yeah, again, it holds. Oh man, this trade has been quite the emotional roller coaster so far. Oh, it's not holding. $4.25. 4.24. 4.2475. BNGO at 1.285, 1.28, match group 69.40. A lot of interesting plays going on right now. Okay, what's going on here? Looks like we might have a little bounce here on our hands. And the sellers, again, this 4.36 area has been a major hurdle. The fact that we kind of constantly hold our highs here, ultimately this was a higher low. But wow, that rejection was very quick. I mean, instantly the price was just crushed right back down. And don't forget, guys, if you're watching this and you are finding some value in this, go ahead and hit that like button so other people can find this video in the future. All right, definitely a lot of activity moving. There's a lot of volume coming in right now. 4.29, can we break 4.29? Here we go. Whew. There are a lot of sellers. Doesn't look like it wants to break to the upside. That 4.35, 4.36 area has been slaying any buyers. BNGO 1.29, definitely finding some big support around that 1.3 area, high 2s, high 1.2. What else we got? I want to kind of check the screener right now, but at the same time, I don't want to check the screener at all. Kind of interested in just, following this one. $16.42. It's 4.42. 6 hours back. Yeah, 10:42. Almost 2 hours since the market's open. This is a bit more than the usual trading. First 2 hours is typically how long we trade for, but usually my trade doesn't last that whole time. Again, guys, we got into a little too early into this trade with that VWAP. I should have been a little bit more hesitant, waited a little bit more. We honestly entered right before one of the big dips. And if we had a little bit later of an entry, we would have been way more comfortable holding to the downside here. None of the, all these big dips, we would have not been down that much. So. I would like us to go back above the 4.36 area, obviously. But I would really like to see that rally, and I think there's a good chance that we're going to get it. We've been holding on to this support zone quite nicely, or this little trend line. Hopefully I don't look nervous. I'm not nervous. Are you guys nervous? You gotta, not nervous at all. Constantly sellers coming in here. I really don't want us to break this trend line. If we do, I might be getting out of this trade. We are a bit in a pennant pattern, actually, if you think about it. I rarely ever trade pennant patterns knowingly. I don't like pennant patterns. They're they're a coin toss, and it's just not really something that I ever look for, ever. So look at this, clear support here, support and resistance in the middle. Then trend lines on the top and bottom forming a pretty clear, perfectly symmetrical pennant pattern. Am I saying that right? Some buyers coming in at 4.25. BNGO back at 1.3. BNGO at 1.27 would have actually been an interesting buy again. I don't really like the weakness we're seeing here. Huge drop in volume. Massive drop in volume. Nothing interesting going on. I'm ready to get out of this trade at 4.24. The second there's too much weakness in the market, and I think that could really just be any second. So I'm just going to kind of wait for that. 3% loss. Not too bad. Could be worse. I will take a 3% loss as a max stop loss any day. Bit unfortunate because we almost got that BNGO move at 20%. That could have been really, really nice. That would have been a really, really nice trade. But if BNGO fails and dumps later today, I wouldn't mind picking up a dip. I think a dip would be really, really nice. A lot of buyers at this 4.24 area, huh? I'm about to put some sunglasses on because my recording light is getting kind of bright in terms of like eye abuse. Is that a thing? Oh. All right, we're out of this trade. We are out officially. Couldn't take it anymore. Let's see what happens. Let's just watch it for a few more moments. $26 loss, not too bad. And the price goes back up. Oh well. Just keep watching it a little bit longer. And sorry for this long live stream. I hope you guys found some value in it. Again, guys, if you did find some value in it, go and hit that like button. You'll make my day. You'll also let YouTube know to rank this video and make sure some other traders get to benefit from watching this.